Jermall Charlo stops Jorge Sebastian Heiland in the 4th round. Those of you who actually saw this fight will know that there's really not much to say about this fight because it wasn't actually a fight at all. It was a farce. And I'm going to get to my thoughts and feelings on this farce later on in the video. But before I do, to my knowledge, this was an eliminator for, is it the WBC middleweight title? And as far as I know, Golovkin and Canelo won't be fighting for the WBC middleweight title. So come what may, Golovkin will remain WBC middleweight champion. Correct me if I'm wrong. This might not be an eliminator for the WBC. If I'm wrong about it, tell me. But I believe it was. So Charlo will now get a guaranteed crack at Triple G. As long as Triple G holds on to his WBC belt and don't vacate it or whatever after the Canelo fight, win or lose. Now, this actual farce itself between Jermall Charlo and Jorge Heiland, it was very clear for those of you who haven't seen the fight from the opening bell that Heiland was carrying a serious leg injury into the fight. From the opening bell, his leg looked all wrong. It was wobbling around. It just wasn't right. People are asking the question, why on earth was he allowed to fight? He apparently tried to get into the ring with his leg all taped up, but that was against commission rules, so they made him take all the tape off. And yeah, he was just wobbling around on that very badly injured leg. It kind of did remind me of the David Haye-Tony Bellew fight, although this one was far worse from the opening bell than Hayes was. So people are asking, why was he allowed to fight? Why didn't he just postpone the fight? So on and so forth. Heiland is not a big name in boxing. Boxing is his living. We don't know if he's got a mortgage to pay. We don't know if he's got debts. I'm speculating here. I've got no inside knowledge, but it's possible that he couldn't afford to postpone the fight because he needed the money now to pay for things now. Maybe he didn't want to miss a mortgage payment or some type of other large financial commitment. It could have been that. You know, we don't know. If he had pulled out, he might have accrued interest and got himself into worse debt, if he's in debt at all. I'm just theorizing here as to why somebody would go into a boxing ring in that type of condition. So if it was something like that, he's thinking, you know what? I'm injured. I know I can't win the fight, but these bills ain't going to pay themselves. So let me just go through with it. I know I'm going to lose, but if I pull out, I'm not going to get paid. Even if it gets postponed, I'm not going to get the money soon enough. And there's no guarantee that Charlo will fight me again anyway. He might decide to abandon the eliminator and go a different route. So Heiland might have thought, you know what, let me just go ahead and do it. I need the money. I can't hate on a man if that's what he did. At the same time, I can understand the view of the fans that, look, we're coming and paying to see real fights. We're not coming and paying to see a guy get in the ring injured and not be in any position to be able to fight. I understand both sides of the argument. But generally, especially when you're dealing with a blue-collar fighter like Heiland, I tend to side a little bit more with the fighter than the fan. I tend to have a little bit of sympathy because, again, this guy's not earning big money. And even getting in the ring as injured as he was putting his health on the line. He stood there to take them big shots from Charlo and get dropped like that. So I have sympathy with him. He's a tough man. It's a tough sport. And these kind of blue-collar fighters that go under the radar for many, many years, they have to take any opportunity they can to earn a decent paycheck. And just to check, let me go back and check actually what he was paid. Heiland was paid $200,000. Now, I'm sure that that is far more than Heiland is used to getting for boxing matches. $200,000 in English money, I guess that's like £150,000. Do you think Heiland normally gets that kind of money? I seriously doubt it. So, yeah, he probably thought, you know what, I can't risk not having this payday. So I can't risk postponing the fight. I have to just get the money now. Go through with it. Yeah, I'll lose, but I'm going to get that money. I may never see that kind of money ever again. It is what it is. Let me know how you feel in the comment section below. Maybe you're not so sympathetic with the fighter. I am, because fighters risk their lives and their health for our entertainment. So for him to do something like that, I mean, would you rather he pulled out and not fight Charlo at all? Maybe you would. I guess from a selfish perspective, I would. But thinking from the fighter's perspective, do I want to begrudge this man a paycheck? Not really. Fighters like Heiland often don't get paid as well as they should, given the risk that they take in the ring. So anyway, it's a subject for debate. Hopefully I've given you some food for thought. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about everything I talked about in the video. As far as Charlo, I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. He was in there with an injured guy. He got rid of him. Charlo is 6 feet tall. So he was very tall for a light middleweight. Of course, there have been taller light middleweights than him, plenty of them. But generally speaking, that's very tall for a light middleweight and still pretty tall for a middleweight. 6 feet. So he's taller than Triple G. I think he's probably taller than Danny Jacobs, maybe around the same height as Jacobs, actually. Nah, is Jacobs 6'1"? Jacobs is tall. So he might be around the same kind of height as Jacobs, actually, Jermall Charlo. So he's one of the taller middleweights out there. He's got hand speed. He's got punching power. We need to see what his punching power is like in an actual fight at middleweight. Because, again, this situation against Heiland is not Charlo's fault, but it was a farce. It wasn't a fight. And he was going down because his leg was injured as much as from any kind of concussive force of the punches. So we need to know what Charlo's punching power is like at middleweight, but we might not get that opportunity. We don't know. Because he is mandatory now, I believe, for Triple G. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's WBC mandatory now, or #1 contender or something like that. So perhaps he'll have to fight the winner of Canelo Triple G, or Triple G if it is the WBC next. And he won't get another fight at middleweight to test himself at that weight. He said in the post-fight interview, he's ready now. He's ready for the winner of Triple G, Canelo, now. He's not trying to have no extra fights. But that could just be hype. Who knows? I think Jermall Charlo is very talented. I like him. I think he's the more talented of the two Charlo brothers from what I've seen of him. And I think he's a great addition to the middleweight division. I think both him and Danny Jacobs give Canelo all kinds of problems. I'm not sure how Charlo does against Triple G. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'd definitely like to see him fight Triple G, especially after the way Danny Jacobs fought Triple G. I thought Danny Jacobs did very well against him. So, yeah, we'll see. Will Triple G even be the top dog after the Canelo fight? Maybe Canelo will beat him. Who knows? I've been favoring Triple G for a long time, but the closer the fight gets and the older Triple G gets, the more even I'm seeing it between Canelo and Triple G. So, yeah, anyway, some food for thought for you there, people. Let me know what you felt in the comment section below about this farce, Charlo's performance, and where you see him going from here, and also what you thought about Heiland going into the fight knowing that he was injured and his team. Because at the end of the day, his team are getting paid as well as him. If he pulls out of the fight, he don't get paid and his team don't get paid. They miss out on probably the biggest purse Heiland's ever had in his career. Let me know what you think, people.